Hi and welcome to Chef's Review Live, a program where we are discussing problems of modern gastronomy. My name is Michał Orłowski. Let's have a look. So before I start, let me remind you this program is being recorded live. So if you have any questions, just drop them on our live chat. The more questions, the better we will cover the subject. And today's subjects are fish bars, a phenomenon you probably know very well from the seaside, but nowadays these fish bars and fish food trucks are storming into the city because you can get fresh fish pretty much everywhere, you know, so suppliers can deliver fresh fish pretty much in every city in the world in no time. So let's have a look at the business itself. First of all, a fish bar, it's a very simple thing. You've probably seen it, you probably heard the dish fish and chips, so a deep fried fish in beer batter with some chips served in some newspaper, very well known in Dover, for example, so in England, but also Australia, America, pretty much everywhere we can get fresh fish. But these said bars are storming into the cities, and they're getting more and more popular. So with the popularity comes a problem. So what happens if the traffic exceeds your expectations, where you have to increase your efficiency, but you have very limited space. As you can see, like everywhere in the world, the kitchen is a very claustrophobic place where it's really tight. So what to do? First of all, there's a few ways to go about it. But let's start at the beginning. So when you plan a business, you always have to assume success. And it's very hard because I know I've been there. When you're establishing business, you want to do it as quickly as possible, as cheap as possible, to earn money as quickly as possible. So you want to reduce your own costs. That's absolutely understood. But then again, there's nothing worse to see your customers from the queue building up in front of your place to be wandering off and going to competition because they've been waiting for too long. So you have to increase the efficiency. So first of all, just make sure you buy the best possible, of course within reason, the best possible equipment to start with. And then when it finally happens that you're the victim of your own success, there's a few ways you can go about it. Let me tell you about it. So first of all, let's keep the example of a fish bar and deep fried food. You're buying a 8-liter deep fryer because you think that it was absolutely sufficient, but it turns out it's not. So what you can do first, you can increase the power and efficiency ratio. So you just change the equipment, you sell the old one, you buy a bigger one or a stronger fryer, so you can cook faster. But that's a very a small remedy, let's say. So it has its own limitations. So instead of 8-liter, you can buy a 10-liter fryer, so you can put a little bit more stuff into it and serve dishes faster. But as I said, this will turn out not sufficient in no time. So what you can do about it is you can get a double barrel fryer, so you can cook many things at the same time. And simply one is going in the oil, one is being served and is dropping back in the oil while you're serving the first one. So you're speeding up pretty much with every go. What you can also do is buy some accessories which will help you out during service. So that would actually be one of the first steps to make. And for instance, like one of these chip warmers. These things tend to speed up service really well because you can do some things in advance. You can do some prep without losing any quality. Of course, everything within reason, so you cannot let your chips sit in a chip warmer for an extended period of time. But if you see a queue building up, why not frying an extra basket of fries, dropping into the chip warmer, and just focus on frying the fish, so you still have your chips ready to go. So that's a couple of ways to do about it, but to be honest with you, well, the probably best way to do it, equipment-wise of course, is to get another piece of equipment. This will always speed you up, but of course it has its own limitations. As we already said, a food truck or a bistro fish bar, it's always limited space, so putting another piece of equipment might not be possible because the obvious limitations. So in that case, there's only one thing to do, and it's actually very advantageous from many perspectives. Namely, you have to fiddle around with the menu. So first of all, instead of just serving fried fish, you can diversify your product. You can apply different cooking techniques, just like pan frying, just to get that crispy skin without any butter or breadcrumbs. You can do oven baked, also roasted fish. You can do some seafood or serve it even fresh and raw. Like sushi, for example, people love it, and your customers are getting more and more conscious, health conscious, and aware of what they can actually do with that fish. So let's just imagine the situation. You have few customers lining up right in the queue. So first you drop a fish in the oven, then you put a pan on, start the pan frying, you drop a couple of serves of your fish and chips in your double deep fat fryer, and serve a salmon tartare. At the same time, everything's ready within 5 to 6 minutes, and you're serving all 4 or 5 guests at the same time. So that would definitely speed you up, giving the customers more choice, giving the customers more healthy options, and of course making the menu more attractive from far away. So listen, when I look at the menu and I see only deep fried 5 or 6 varieties of fish, well, I'm not overwhelmed. But when I see on the menu that I have a pan-fried crispy skin salmon next to a beer butter fish and chips next to a, let's say, kingfish tartare, that menu sounds good. It attracts people, definitely. And obviously, it attracts a different sort of customers. For those who have want simplicity, there's something there. For those who want a healthy option, there's something there. So you're kind of like hitting different targets. All right, I can see there's questions coming in, so let's go into question answer mode. All right, Billy is asking, is there a way to increase efficiency of an existing machine? To be honest with you, Billy, I wouldn't recommend tampering with your existing equipment. I mean, it's electric equipment. Unless you're a very skilled electrician, I wouldn't do that for various reasons. First of all, loss of warranty if there is one. Second of all, well, you're endangering your business by tampering with stuff that can catch on fire, for instance. Besides, you can damage the equipment, so you kind of like, forced to buy another one. So there's more disadvantages than advantages, so I wouldn't recommend that. All right, Jesse Q is asking, the space in the food truck is limited. I cannot fit another device in. How do I go about it? As I said, I know this problem very well. Always in any kitchen, whether it's a food truck, it's a bistro, it's a cafe, a restaurant, it doesn't matter. The kitchen is always a very cramped place. It's very tight, it's claustrophobic. There's certain limits you can do. So basically, swapping equipment is one way to go about it. So increasing the size of, or the capacity of your deep fat fryer, for instance, takes less space than buying a new one in, and you just get rid of the old one. Let's say using up like different techniques, that's another way to go about it. So, or making a different workflow, or just well, there's not much you can do. Like, at some point there's a limit to it. If there's so much you can do, there's so much you can do. But you have to just fiddle around with the equipment and see what fits, what's not. So that's one way. Bella is asking, what do I do if it turns out that some equipment is not needed anymore? So there's actually a couple of cases what that could mean. So first of all, during the daytime, there's always a period where it's not so busy and some equipment is not needed. Well, the other way around, there's always seasons, like it's high season and off season. So in off season, you don't need that much efficiency going on. And of course, there's cases where you simply got a piece of equipment, you use it, after a while it turns out you don't need it anymore, you switch the menu and so on. So first of all, let me approach each case sort of individually. So if it turns out that during daytime or off season some piece of equipment is not needed anymore, or you don't make much use of it, well, always, or actually as much as you can, get a piece of equipment that is either very efficient, so you can turn it off, unplug it, and when the customers are coming in, just plug it back in, because you know, excuse me, it will reach the operational temperature very quickly, and you're ready to go within a couple of minutes, and the customers won't even realize. Or you can get for instance, a piece of equipment like this deep fat fryer with individual power, so you can turn one bit off while the other one is still going, so you're ready for your next customers in no time. If it's absolutely not needed, there's actually two things you can do. First, you can sell it and get some money back and invest it in your business, or just enjoy your holidays, I don't know. Or you can just keep it, because from my own experience I know that the equipment you've been using you might need someday in the future. Of course, like because of the cramped space, well, there's no way to keep that for eternity, but let me tell you, if you need a waffle iron for 2-3 months and then it's just winter time and no one's buying waffles, just put it in the bag, put it on the shelf. Keep in mind that in someday or next year you might need to use it. The trends may change, or you may do a pop-up restaurant or a I don't know, an event or something. You might need this piece of equipment, but of course you can always sell it. There's a lot of you know, online shops and stuff like that, you can sell it to. All right, so these were all my questions. If you have any other ideas or questions, just write us on the email below. We will either respond individually, or if there's a lot of these questions, we will make another episode of our show. So definitely, I will thank you very much for watching. I thank you guys very much for your questions, and I hope I see you next time.